Hi there, Dr. Steve Edlane, and I want to talk to you today a little bit about a few minutes about just kind of overall thyroid. So you may have the reason you're probably watching this video or checked out my website is, or you've heard of me, is because you're having some type of symptoms that are unresolved, and those symptoms could be if you're having thyroid symptoms like fatigue, weight gain, depression, insomnia, infertility, constipation, poor circulation, chronic pain. You need extra sleep just to keep functioning a little bit. You have chronic digestive problems. You got dry, itchy skin. The outer third of your eyebrows are falling out. Your hair is falling out. It's getting pretty thin. Your nails are brittle on your nails are cracking and falling apart. Hands and feet are always cold. Your face is swollen. And just don't feel yourself, and don't feel like you are who you feel you should be. And if this is going on, it's a good possibility you have thyroid problems, and you may have been diagnosed with thyroid problems. You may be on some medication. You may not be on medication. I don't know, but I know one thing: with thyroid conditions, the number one cause of this is an autoimmune condition called Hashimotos. Now, most of you who are on medication probably have Hashimotos and don't know you have it because you haven't had the TPO and TPG antibodies run. So that's an absolute must when we run a thyroid panel. Besides just TSH and T4, we run a bunch of different panels or a bunch of different thyroid tests: free T3, total T3, free thyroxine index, reverse T3, thyroid binding or the TPO antibodies for Hashimoto's, and TPG antibodies to see if you have an autoimmune condition. That's really important because 96% of all autoimmune or all thyroid conditions are autoimmune. People just don't know it. And when I say 96%, because eventually they develop into that, all right? So there's three different phases of autoimmunity. You can have silent, where you can just have elevated antibodies, no symptoms. You can have where it starts getting active, where you're starting to get some symptoms with elevated antibodies and they continue to rise. And then you have this active destruction, which is a real reactive phase. You don't want that. And that can start at 2 years of age or 92 years of age is when these genes get turned on. You start getting symptomatic, and it can be a real issue, especially for like thyroid, because it affects every single cell in your body, has a thyroid receptor. It's unbelievable how a dysfunctional thyroid and overactive immune system was really what the cause of this problem is attacking and destroying normal thyroid tissue. So the model that the medicine looks at is a 50-year-old, 60-year-old model, which is okay. All right, your TSH is high. Give you some hormone replacement. You're good to go. And that is appropriate because you have to get. You won't have any success until we can get that TSH between I like 1.0 to 3.0. The lab range is 0.5 to 4.5. Everything is very broad range. I mean, you're at 4.5, you're hypothyroid, all right? Anything over 3, you're starting to get hypothyroid, you might get symptomatic. So you want to keep that in more of a tighter range, 1 to 3. But the medication is really important because you can't get better unless that's regulated, all right? So you probably need to be on the thyroid medication. I have no problem with that at all. That's part of the management of this. But here's the thing. If you can see it start creeping upward every year, okay, and it's just not getting better or it's not stabilizing, that's not good. That means your autoimmune disease is probably getting worse, all right? Or if it goes between, let's say you go 7.0, and then you go down and you start getting like 0.1, where you're getting hyperactive symptoms, that's not good because that's where you get into a Graves' disease or hyperactive thyroid. That's another autoimmune condition. And that's what can happen. Sometimes you can go between hypo and hyperthyroid. So what do? So the difference between what I do and probably a typical medical doctor in managing this is what I do is look into what is triggering your immune response. And again, the Hashimoto's thyroiditis is an overactive immune system attacking, destroying normal thyroid tissue. It's the most common autoimmune condition in the world. It's the most common thing that I see in my clients and my patients. 1 out of every 8 females has a thyroid issue. 1 out of every 8. And here's the thing, it's not managed well in most cases because they're not looking at what is causing the immune system to go haywire. So what do we do to look deep into the autoimmunity? What can cause your immune system to trigger? 1 is genetic predisposition for sure, absolutely. 2, it's our dietary and lifestyle, all right? So one of the things that we do is we look at your food sensitivities, all right? It's not maybe the first test I do, but it's a great test because if you're putting foods in your body that are causing your immune system to get and your gut to be inflamed, it causes more inflammation, right? Chronic inflammation can cause an expression of your autoimmune and really fire things up. So food sensitivity testing is very important. And really the big ones that we find when we do test people who are positive for foods that are very inflammatory are gluten, dairy, soy, egg, and yeast. So if you do anything, listening to me today, get out those 5 foods for a few weeks, see how you feel. Your inflammation will go down for sure. You might start feeling better. If you really want to know, you want to dig deep, let's do some food sensitivity testing. Let's get you in here for take a good hour to do a good thorough evaluation, neurological, physical examination, and that's really important we do that. Then we'll sit down and talk about, hey, where do we go from here? We should get some comprehensive blood work done for sure. I do a 96 different panel of different things, our inflammatory markers, all the different iron markers, make sure your blood sugar is good, make sure you don't have any anemia issues, look at the liver, gallbladder, GI system, see how that's looking, all your electrolytes, minerals, your fatty lipids, vitamin D, CRP, those inflammatory markers, homocysteine, just a ton of different things. Very comprehensive blood work. They're not going to run that. You go to Mayo, they're not going to run that darn thing. So we can get a baseline and see where you're at. We do the 10 different thyroid checks, including the TPO, TPG antibodies. If those are positive, you have Hashimoto's. Now it's time to start addressing underlying triggers. So food can be an underlying trigger for sure. You can have infection. So one of the tests that we like to do is run a gut zoomer test by Vibrant Wellness Labs. It's a stool test. You take it home. It'll show us a bunch of different things about how your gut is functioning. It's crucial because that's where 80% of your immune system lies. We want to make sure you don't have any type of bacterial infection like H. pylori, Yersinia. You could have some parasites that can be triggering your immune system. If those are a yeast infection going on in there, if those are triggering a trigger to your immune system, those need to be eradicated. All right, especially if you're symptomatic, probably should get at it. Another test I like to run by Vibrant, and this is an absolute must for just about everybody that comes in here, is the Wheatstone. So what the Wheatstone shows us is if you have intestinal permeability or leaky gut. You may have heard of that word. So leaky gut is when the gut lining should have nice tight junctions like this, and they start getting leaky like this, and then our food proteins go into the bloodstream, and the immune system goes haywire. So leaky gut can be a primary cause of autoimmune disease. So you're thinking you got a thyroid issue, and we have to look at the gut. Maybe there's something wrong with your gut that's causing that. It also, with the Wheatstone, it'll show us if you have celiac disease. We measure the transglutaminase 2 markers. If you're positive with that, you have celiac. And that's really important because the celiac and Hashimoto's thyroiditis are really, really common. Those are the 2 most common autoimmune diseases that I see in my clinic. And they also have celiac cross-react with the thyroid tissue. So very, very common that we see those 2 things. And then also it'll show us transglutaminase 3, which goes to the skin, and then transglutaminase 6, which can affect cerebellum and our brain tissue. So I want to make sure those are okay. So the Wheatstone is a great test. Plus it runs all the 24 different proteins of gluten, called the gliadin, all these different parts of to see if you're sensitive to gluten. I mean, it just absolutely, we see that and you come back positive, you can't touch gluten. all right? Because you could have a non-celiac gluten sensitivity, especially with thyroid tissue. Man, got to get off that stuff for sure. But I love the Wheatstone because it shows us evidence. It's great. Do you have leaky gut? Do you have reactions to gluten? Do you have reactions to the brain, to other areas of your body because you eat gluten? All right, so we got to get off that for sure. It's a great test, absolutely, and it's very affordable. That's why I love doing that test. So food sensitivity, the Wheatstone, Gutzoomer, great places to start. I love starting people on those tests. Yeah, it's a little bit pricey, but I think it's still very affordable. If you've had a chronic condition, you're not getting answers. This is a great way to start. And this is what I do as not only a chiropractor, but for the last 15 years, I've been a practicing functional medicine doctor under the guidance of Dr. Datis Karazian, who wrote the book, Why Do I Still Feel Terrible When My Labs Are Normal? He wrote the classic thyroid book that's been a bestseller. And I just got certified on his, I got it right here somewhere here. This is the certification through the Karazian Institute. I just did his 16-hour Hashimotos course with all updated new materials, over 1,500 pages. You can see it right here. So between patients, guess what I'm doing right here? I am always studying and I'm always trying to learn. This is very in depth. We don't do just take this supplement, do that supplement, do protocols. We do individualized plans for everybody. Everybody's completely different when they come into my office. They have different issues, they have different lifestyles, they have different things going on in their life. So it has to be individualized. It can't be do this, do that, because guess what? You're going to have failure. I'm going to have a failure. You know what? And I've had my failures over the years. And I know who I can help and who I can't help. I know what we need to do for testing. So you have to be serious about wanting to get your health back. And then we have to sit down and talk about what are realistic expectations. Can you do a certain diet? And sometimes we have to experiment with things. You know, there isn't one pure diet. I mean, I love the autoimmune paleo diet, and that works great for a lot of people. For some people, it doesn't work. I love the keto diet. Sometimes that can be the worst diet for people. So we have to look at you overall, what's going on in your life. How do you sleep? How do other systems of your body work? Where else are you autoimmune? Because remember, once you're autoimmune, it's always looking for another place to attack. So that's why I love running Cyrix Array 5. It shows us 25 different other areas of your body where you might be producing autoimmunity. It might be silent, it might be active. All I know is that when I see people that walk in here, generally most of them are multiple chronic autoimmune conditions. And they are frustrated. They are tired of being tired. They're tired of being going from provider to provider and having no clue. And this is where I take a very individualized approach. I only do a handful of people at a time because they are very tough cases. Most of these. I love doing a good hands-on physical examination, a neurological examination, because what I see with Hashimoto patients is a lot of cerebellar issues. Those are brain issues that can create. I see a lot of tremors with people and balance issues and dizziness. And that can be a sign of autoimmunity to the brain. So we have to do a good neurological evaluation on you also. So, but it's fun working with. I enjoy working on these chronic tough cases. And the thing is, if you're in and you want to make a serious impact in your overall health and well-being, you want to start digging deep into what is causing and what we can do. Where are your triggers? What's causing this immune system? Remember, it's an immune system dysfunction. It's attacking, destroying your thyroid tissue. That's not normal, okay? So we have to find out where your triggers are. That's why we have to do the testing. It's the only way it's going to work, okay? So if you are interested in learning more about this, if you're interested in a consultation, we can do it over the phone, or you can just set up an exam, 715-294-3100. There are certain forms that we have. I'd like to have you fill out the metabolic assessment form, the brain regional localization form. We fill those forms out first, get those back to me. I can take a peek at them, and then we can get you in for an examination, and then we can go from there. We definitely need some testing done. We go over, if we go through the exam and do stuff, then we'll sit down and go over, okay, here's what's going on. We need to do the blood work first to find out if you have Hashimoto's. We have to look at the whole global picture of what's going on, get a baseline to see where you're at. And then we'll look at different testing to be done. And then I'll sit and go over my fees and all that kind of stuff. Insurance doesn't cover anything. Unfortunately, they just don't. We try to make our fees as affordable for people as possible. I still have to pay my bills, all right? And I get, I do a good job with people. I give everything I have. I love doing this. I've got Hashimoto's myself. Mine's been very manageable, but it's been a lot of work. I had to make some major lifestyle changes, manage my stress better, sleep better, all these different things to be healthier, so I can manage it. All right, and that's what you do. You try to manage it, so you have many, many more good days or bad days. It's not like, oh, you do this and you're cured. That's not how autoimmunity works. Autoimmune can go crazy, and no simple fixes out there at all. Again, the goal is more good days than bad days, where you go out and function, have a great, optimal, healthy life, and you can do the things you want to do. That's what we all want to do. I mean, I'm just about 60 years old, and I feel fantastic. I'm fit. I still race, I compete, I've done 28 Birkebeiners, so I'm out there able to do the things I want to do in life with an autoimmune disease. All right, I should be able to do that. And there's some people I can't help, so I know who I can kind of help and who I can't. And I would totally upfront and honest with people when they come in and we sit and talk too. So with that, that's a little bit about autoimmunity. Again, if you wanted to, you can also like me on my Edling Chiropractic and Edling Chiropractic and Wellness Facebook site. I put on different videos all the time there. You can check us out there. You can just go to Steve Edling, my Facebook site. You'll see different videos on there. Again, if you just want to sit and talk, just pick up the phone and give me a jingle at my clinic, 715-294-3100. And if you're committed, like, yeah, I want to get rocking on this thing, let's get at it. And, call Mary and she'll get you set up. We'll do a 1-hour appointment to start with and do a good exam. We'll go from there. Take care, and thanks for watching. Look forward to hearing from you.